I was enjoying a nice morning out in the garage. Sometimes instead of going for a drive, I like to just sit out here and look at the cars while I eat. Had some leftover birthday cake and just thought it'd be a nice morning. Took the GT with my wife out to dinner, and then we stopped at the grocery store on the way home, and we parked next to this white 97 Mustang Cobra. I like the rear spoiler. I added the same one to my 97 black GT, and the rest of the car looked really good, really clean. I've actually seen the car around town a few times. I saw it a couple years ago parked in a parking lot next to a car show, and I just thought, man, this is a good looking car. It's lower just right, has FR 500 wheels, clear headlights. I actually had a 98 Cobra myself, so this is my 98 Cobra. It was laser red. You can tell that mine was a 98 by the wheels. Those Cobra wheels were a 1 year only wheel. And what's actually kind of cool is the leftover wheels like that were used as full-size spares in the back of the 2000 Cobra R. So if you have a 2000 Cobra R or ever see one, the spare tire should have one of those 98 Cobra wheels on it. I'm not positive, but it might have to do with the fact that the Cobra R had those nice big black Brembo brakes up front, and maybe they needed a spare tire wheel that would fit around them, something like that, but pretty cool. This Cobra was actually pretty fun and special to my brother and me. This car was one that we knew our whole lives growing up, and we ended up buying it years down the road when it was like this with peeling paint and kind of run down, but it did have a brand new replacement engine in it, so it was a really solid car. And one of my friends has the car today. My brother actually offered to buy it back the other day, and he was not interested, which is fine. It had ugly stripes on it, which I ended up removing, but they were vinyl and they were just completely baked and cracked on there. They were so hard to get off, and you can tell where they used to be, but it's a cool car, and I really liked it, and I daily drove it for a little while. My brother did a lot of work too and fixed it up. We did new ignition leads and like Ford Racing ones and stuff, and cleaned the mass airflow sensor, and it ran pretty good. Ultimately, the issue was my brother and I were sharing the car, and I was daily driving it a lot more, and I offered to pay the insurance on it since I was daily driving it, but it turned into one of those situations where I wanted to get the car repainted, and he was like, well, I don't really want to put the money into it, and we both own the car. And at that point, we kind of were trying to decide what the best route would be to go with the car. And I honestly would rather have a New Edge Mustang GT. At the time, I thought I just like the New Edge cars better, and it just kind of turned into a debate of what we should do with the car, and we couldn't come to a agreement, so we said, well, let's just sell it and we'll go our separate ways, which was okay because when we sold it, I bought other Mustang New Edges and Mach 1s and stuff like that I still have today. So I'm happy that I did it because I like my yellow Mach 1 better today. But I do feel like I probably should have just held on to that 98 Cobra, and my brother and I probably should have just kept it and put it aside. It was a cool car, but really the performance of this car and a New Edge GT were almost identical. They were very similar, and to me, I'd rather just have the New Edge Mustang. Another thing about this car that I wasn't exactly happy and excited about was the color of the interior. It has the saddle interior, which I did not really prefer. But this is what the car looks like today. My friend had brought it over. He was actually visiting the friend across the street with the Shelby, and he had the car. So he put some new seats in it, which look really nice. They kind of match the interior, but I just have never liked the brown interior in these cars, so that was another reason why I really didn't mind letting go of the car at the time. But I mean, it is a cool car. I did sell him my Celine style spoiler that I had on my 97 GT, and so I think he has that on the car now, but he put newer Flowmasters on. The other ones had holes in them and were leaking really bad and stuff, but it was a cool car. I really liked it, and there's a place in my heart for the SN95 Mustangs, especially the Cobra. But this was a really nice one. As a matter of fact, the guy who owned it actually moved to Tennessee, took it all the way out there, and then he recently moved back, so the car's back in town now. But, I see this white 97 Cobra, and I think that's a really cool car. I actually drove up next to this guy in my silver GT on the way to work the other night, and we kind of played around, and I got out ahead of him, and he couldn't quite catch me. But anyway, it's kind of a toss-up. Do you want a 98 Cobra, or do you want a New Edge GT with a stick shift? They'd probably be almost the same in performance. But anyway, cool car to see around town. I've seen it off and on, and now I've seen it a few more times lately. But I was thinking how this car is about how I'd have it set up. Maybe not those exact wheels, but it looks great. And I love the white taillights on the SN95s like that with the bezels. They just look so good. So I took my blue Mach 1, and my brother and I went for a morning drive. We went to the hardware store to go check out a couple options they have for tools and stuff. But Mach 1 looking fantastic. This is such a beautiful car. I'm always happy to have this one. We parked over here where nobody would be around it, and it just looked really good. It was a nice morning to take the car out and enjoy it. I don't drive it as much as the other ones, and so it's fun to get it out, and it's always special. And I took my yellow GT and went to a car show where they had the Dyno. So we'll get to that in a second. Here's a 68 SS Camaro at the show in the parking lot. So a lot of times you'll find cars that you really like out in the parking lot. And it's always worth walking around and seeing what's in the parking lot, because sometimes people don't put their cars in the show. I mean, I don't always put mine in the show. And so I think it's kind of cool to see what's around there. Here's another GT that was there in the parking lot, and a Hellcat. You might have seen this Hellcat in my other videos. It's been to a couple car shows out in the parking lot, and it is always filthy every time. I don't know if it's even been washed since the last time I saw it months and months ago. But it's very surprising to see such a beautiful car that just has such a filthy windshield and filthy car that you would just think that they would, want to wash it. Beautiful C8 Corvette in the parking lot, and a GTO. I like these. They're fun. Has the dual exhaust and the hood scoops. So this should be the 6.0 LS2 engine. But a cool black car. And then into the show, found this split window 63 Corvette. This looked beautiful. The car was just, a showstopper. It looked like it was beautifully restored, but also with some upgrades. The wheels were really big. The interior looked really nice. Those seats went really well with the red and everything, and they looked very comfortable. It looked like it had maybe a 4-speed automatic in there, so probably an LS swap, maybe an LT swap, but split window car, absolutely gorgeous, beautiful car. And then a few more Corvettes there. There's an E-Ray and a Z06 and an AC Cobra replica car and some more Corvettes, and just kind of an idea of what's there. GTO again with the dual hood scoops and the dual exhaust, so 6.0 LS2. Here's a Coyote with the 5.0. This one's going to go on the dyno here in a minute. The guy had just purchased it recently. Here's the Celine that you may have seen in the other videos. And these are my friend's two Mustangs. This is a Coyote, a 2018 or 20, I think. And it has the ESS centrifugal supercharger on it. ESS is very popular now with the Coyotes, and they do pretty well. And this is my friend's beautiful redfire Terminator Cobra. He has a new Terminator bottom end in it. He had rebuilt the engine, and the bearings weren't right, and had some issues, and it jumped timing and stuff, and so he's put it all back together a couple of times, but now it's finally back looking great, beautiful, with a Gen 5 3.0 Whipple supercharger and cams, and just a good looking car, about high 70,000 mile range. And so for its mileage and everything, it looks very beautiful. I guess you'd say it's probably like my blue Mach 1 that has some miles on it, but still in fantastic shape. He did the alternator relocation kit where the AC used to be, so some things like that. Here's a Scat Pack Challenger, looking good. And now here's my friend's Coyote on the dyno. made just over 700, and they were actually having a competition, and he won. Here's another Coyote, 2013 or 14, with just bolt-ons. This is a 6R80 automatic car and used to belong to one of my friends. Now you'll notice once he gets going that there's a little squeaking noise, and that's actually the dyno. One of the bearings was going out in the dyno, but you'll hear that on a couple different cars here. Friend with the ESS Coyote won first place for over 700, and my other friend here won first place for his Redfire Terminator for Best in Show for the 2000 to 2007 car range. His car looked absolutely beautiful, and in the sun it was just a really nice sight to see. And here's a newer Coyote, could have been ruby red, could have been one of the other newer reds. I couldn't quite tell, but this one was just parked in the parking lot. Looked really good, but I was about to leave, but they had a couple more cars that were going to go on the dyno just for fun, even though the competition was over. Enjoyed my GT being there the whole time. I even thought about putting it on the dyno if things were slow, but anyway, Gen 2 Coyote, and we'll see how he does. He had just bought the car. He made the same as the other Coyote, about 368, so he wasn't very happy about that. Anyway, this other GT pulled up to get dyno, but they said they're done for the day, especially with the bearing noise. But I noticed it had Mach 1 wheels on it. It had deep dish Mach 1s on the back, just like mine, and man, the tires are really fat. It was interesting to see my wheels, but with big fat tires on them, because I haven't seen that before, and I'm surprised. Actually, I think I did see some rubbing marks on the tire where his wheel wells are cutting into the tire, but that might be a GT that's been around in town. That was the same color that I knew about that had a supercharger on it, so it would have been cool to see what that one put down. Anyway, I took the GT to the hardware store and exchanged these broken Craftsman tools I had for new ones, and they did a very nice job doing that. They didn't hassle me about it at all, and these are really nice. I really enjoy them. So then I felt like taking the blue Mach 1 out for a drive and going to get something to eat, and so I went here. The parking lot isn't finished yet. It's chained off on the other side, so it's kind of reluctant to park there, but it was okay. And then I took the Mach 1 to a meeting at the church at night that I needed to go to, so that was fun to take it and just enjoy it. And then I got all three of the Mach 1s, my brother's red one and my yellow one and my blue one together, just while I was swapping cars around and stuff at the other garage. And I used to have a red Mach 1 too, so this is what my garage actually used to look like at one point. But anyway, that's the update for now, so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and stay tuned for more Mustang content.